Hello. All right, let the fun begin.
10 more seconds. Who wants to start? Who's like, what the heck's Maddie gonna talk about today? Is everybody excited? Sometimes I just have crazy stuff to talk about, you know? All right, ladies. I want you in the chat. What I'm going to talk about today, I really wanted to stimulate your brain juices, and you should have some answers for me, and this should change a couple things for you. So after you get off this call, you're going to not look at this one thing the same again, and you should be actually way more excited about your future, okay? So, let me just let the one lady in here. Okay, so go into my handy dandy whiteboard. Okay, so what I'm about to teach you, ladies, this is going to be so controversial. Literally what I'm about to say, all coaches out there will tell you the exact opposite. That's how wild this is, okay? So, I want to start by sharing a story. So, I used to be 200 pounds, a little over 200 pounds, okay? When I was 200 pounds, my main goal at the time was to be 160. I thought if I got to 160, I'd feel really good. I'd feel small. That would be a little heavier than my high school weight, so I think I'd be good. I'd be fitting into the clothes in my closet that were still too small. So 160 was my goal. Now, when I would try all these diets out there and I would set my goal for 160, I could usually only make it to like 161, 162. I would teeter back and forth. I could never hit that 160, and it would drive me nuts. And I remember one day I was looking in the mirror and I was like super frustrated. I was like, okay, I really want to see that 160. Like, it would mean a lot to me. I would feel really accomplished. What's going on? And I was looking in the mirror and I was also thinking, well, you know what? I do want to see the 160, but I don't 100% like what's in the mirror yet. I bet I could go for 150. And so, from that moment, I said, okay, even though I'm struggling to hit 160, I do know that if I do hit it, I don't want to stop there. So I set my new goal at 150. I was like, okay, I got to hit that 160, and I do want to keep going. 150 it is. That was my new goal. The second I set that 150 goal, I started to hit 160. I finally broke and hit that 160 plateau. And then I lost a little bit more weight. And then I started to plateau around 153, 154. That's where I was stuck, right? I'm sure you have a number that's your sticking number that you can never really get past. So I was now plateauing around 153, 154. And I was stuck on this cycle long enough where I was kind of feeling the same way I did when I was trying to hit that 160. I was stuck. I knew I wanted to hit 150, but I was looking in the mirror, and again, I was like, you know what? I still have some parts I want to tighten up. I want to shape up. So 150 might not even be enough. So I know 140, but you know what? What the heck? What the heck? What if I do 130? And so I created this crazy goal in my head, and I said, let me be 130. And here's the funny thing. When I set that goal for myself, I didn't ever think that I would hit that. I didn't think that was possible. I actually thought that if I hit 130, I would look too skinny because that was way below my high school weight, actually. And so, what do you think happened the second I set my goal at 130? I blast out of the 150s. I was no longer plateauing at 153, and I zoomed right to 145. And I started to notice this trend. I started to notice that I could only hit my first goal if I set a crazy goal that was way past it. And the second I made this connection, the second I realized it, I finally discovered that I've been setting realistic goals, and realistic goals don't make sense. You see, if you go to a personal trainer, if you go to a coach, if you look online, everybody will talk about SMART goals, SMART, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. That's the acronym stands for. And everybody talks about it, right? If you go to a gym right now and you were going to hire a personal trainer, they'd sit you down and say, okay, let's build our SMART goals together. And I did that for so long, and I would never reach my goal. Like, How many times have you set a goal and it's still not achieved? It's the same goal. Who's had the same goal for too long? And I finally, when I started to set stupid goals that I didn't even believe possible, then only then could I actually reach the first goals that I set that were quote unquote realistic. And so it is my mission to overtake the weight loss industry and say screw you to realistic goals. Like no more. Because let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Realistic is just code for I'll settle. Right? Realistic, I think I'd be happy with 5 pounds. I'd be happy with 10 pounds. I'd really like 20, but I'll take 5. We're settling because we are afraid that we might not get there. So we don't want to get our hopes up. We don't want to be disappointed again, because guess what? You tried. So what does that mean? That means from now on, there's no such thing as realistic goals. That big goal we're working on, it cannot be realistic. What can be realistic is the small goals you set along the way. 1 pound this week, not 10 pounds this week, right? But if you came into the Tremere community thinking that you have 10 pounds to lose because you'd really like that, but you know you could go for 40, but you'd love to see 60, then make your goal 65. Just go wild. Because if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you still land among the stars. We've been doing it wrong. We've been holding ourselves caged. We've been keeping ourselves caged this whole time. This whole time, just because we've been trying to be realistic, is actually the thing that's been holding us back. Because it is the wrong type of energy to come into this journey with. Is this making sense? Wrong type of energy. Demand what you want and ask for everything that you want. Don't just ask for a little piece of the pie. You can't have the whole pie. Okay? Now, not literally. Don't go out there and eat a whole pie, okay? But my point being is, if you are listening to me talk right now because you want to make a change, you want to see a change, you want to change your body, your mind, your lifestyle, that means what you are trying to achieve, you have never been before. Okay? So what we were trying to achieve, you've never been before. Which means, how could you possibly fathom what that takes? How could you possibly fathom how far you can grow if you've never actually grown there before? So by default, you've been setting a ceiling on yourself instead of raising a new floor. Every time you set a goal, it's literally the reason you haven't reached it, because it's a ceiling instead of a floor. Is that making sense? Is that difference making a sense? So, no more realistic. Shoot for the moon because you will land among the stars. And if you think about, how we've been making our goals, we've been coming up with them in a box. Like our current versions of ourselves have come up with our goal. But in order to reach these goals, we can't be ourselves. We're going to change somehow. And so if that's true, that means you have to think not like yourself in order to choose the appropriate goal. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? Shake your head. Shake your head up. Yes? Awesome. Okay. So from now on, this moment, I don't ever want to hear that's realistic. That will do. I'd be happy with. If your goal does not evoke an intense emotion, it is not worth fighting for. And not only is it not worth fighting for, you won't fight for it. You ever wonder why you lose motivation so quickly, why you can't be consistent? It's not a good enough goal. It's not a good enough goal. It has to evoke emotion, and not positive emotion. You can have a goal, set it, and it can make you be angry. Like, oh, that's a stupid freaking goal. There's no way. It can make you laugh like, I wish I could be my wedding weight again. Make you cry about how amazing it would be if you could reach that. If there's not an intense emotion, like a visceral reaction, saying your goal out loud because it sounds crazy, if you're not almost nervous to say it out loud in front of somebody because they're going to think you're crazy, it's not good enough. It's not going to push you, right? There's nothing wrong with you. It's not like you suck at being disciplined and you suck at being consistent and for some reason you can't have motivation. There's literally nothing wrong with you. It's just the way that we've been speaking and planning and thinking about our future that's been holding us in a box. And despite the words that we say, the energy we give off, that's what the universe can read. Not like, I'd like to lose weight. The universe doesn't hear that. The universe hears, she doesn't think she can do it. And so I'm not going to help her. So the first step of breaking out of that, it's crazy. It's like, set this crazy goal, right? 130 is nutso for me, like nuts. Guess what my new goal is? 115. If I told my 200-pound self that, I thought that 115 would look like I'm anorexic. I'd have ribs popping through. I'd have to eat lettuce every day. I'd hate my life. I'd be flying off the back of treadmills because I have to run so much. And the funny thing is, regardless of if that was true, you still have no idea. You still don't know what it takes to get there. But you'll only unlock your potential if you push the goalposts far enough to where we now have more emotion to run after it, right? Because if you push that goalpost farther, okay, if you expand that goalpost, you now have more room to get momentum. Make sense? Like, why would we get off the couch for 5 pounds? Because in our head, I used to be able to when I was younger. I could lose 5 pounds in one day if I just didn't eat, you know? So 5 pounds, if I really put my mind to it, I could drop it in a couple days. But we never really put our mind to it because 5 pounds not exciting, not worth it. It will be there tomorrow. That cake looks better. The couch is calling my name. Drinks with the girls is more fun, you know? And so there has to be way more emotion tied to your goal. If I had to give you like one really powerful takeaway, it's that. It's that you have to have emotion on your goal. And it's funny because in goals, as humans, we grow and as we should, which means our goals change. Because the closer we reach our goal, the more excited we get and we now develop a new one. So if that's true, that means we always should be having momentum going and we always need to be creating a new scary goal. Always. Always. So whether you are just starting your weight loss journey and you've been discouraged so many times that you've put your goal in a little box, or whether you've been on your weight loss journey for a long time and you need something new and exciting to break through a plateau or get motivated again to start, getting back on track. Regardless, the answer is if you can't get off your butt, if you haven't been excited to get out of bed, if you're not excited to plan your meals or get your steps in or drink more water, it's because you're not understanding why you're doing those things. If I knew that if I got all my water in today, that the scale's going to drop tomorrow, and I'm one step closer to being lighter than I've ever seen on the scale, except when I'm with 10, it's just crazy. It's crazy. And what else is crazy is thinking like this, like I mentioned, it unlocks your potential where you can actually start to meet that higher version of yourself that you would have never met in any other scenario. If you want to achieve greatness, you first need to know that it's doable. You don't need to think you can actually achieve it, by the way, because I know sometimes it's far-fetched. You don't need to think you can actually achieve it, but you do need to start thinking about it. What could it be? My husband and I, Ryan, we have a big neon sign in our kitchen that says dream bigger. And when he was buying the sign, he wanted it to say dream big. And before he pressed the order button, I said, no, I don't want that. Because if I said dream big, we all know what dream big is, right? Maybe you want your own house, your own barn. Maybe dreaming big would be like, oh my God, I could be out of debt one day. Or, oh, I can own this fancy car. Or I can travel first class on flight. We know what dreaming big is. You know what your big dream is, right? But that's not big enough. That's still in the confines of your current mind. Your current mind came up with that dream. Your current mind came up with that goal. So you'll only be able to be who you are now if it's your current mind is making it. And so I said, no, the sign cannot be dream big because we already know what that means. It must say dream bigger so that it's going to force us to think of things we haven't thought of before. So that we act outside of ourselves. We think unlike ourselves. so we can start to transform and meet this new higher frequency version of ourselves. And it's like, it's really cool. Are you guys catching this? Is this making sense? And let me tell you, what's so funny, the second you actually embrace this, the second you actually embrace what I am saying here, that first goal you had in your mind that you'd be happy with, you're going to reach it so fast. You just like, you zoom right through it. You almost forget to celebrate it. It happens so fast, which is really exciting, right? So going forward, whatever this starting number is, whatever your starting number is, pick a goal that's big, that's scary, and that you think maybe I can't even get that low. Like, what the heck? Why not? Why not? What do you have to lose except wait? Does that make sense, ladies? Pretty interesting topic, huh? Very deep thought process. Did you guys find that helpful? If you did, I would like to know in the comments, what was your current weight or your current goal? And then what is your new big goal? What's the scary goal? What's the goal that emits emotion? And it does not have to be, number related. It can be, I had a lady today, actually, I don't know if she's on this call. She was like, I kind of want to compete now. Like, she wants to be a physique competitor. Go on stage. She's lost so much weight and feeling so confident. That's wild. You don't have to do that. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, if I told her that that was her goal years ago when she joined us, she'd think I'm insane and she'd leave. So set big goals, right? And whatever big means to you, okay? As long as there's like an emotional reaction where you're like, no way, oh wait, I'll try. Like that kind of reaction, then it's good enough.